Okay, so welcome everybody. Welcome to this talk of October 4th. And to get started, I was going to read you the famous quote by Carl Jung, and this Do Your Own Red Book talk is very much embedded in the work of Carl Jung, and it's a talk that invites us to do our own Red Book. So here is what he says. I should advise you to put it all down as beautifully as you can in some beautifully bound book. It will seem as if you were making the visions banal, but then you need to do that. Then you are freed from the power of them. Then, when these things are in some precious book, you can go back to the book and turn over the pages, and for you, it will be your church, your cathedral, the silent places of your spirit where you will find renewal. If anyone tells you that it's morbid or neurotic, and you listen to them, then you will lose your soul. For in that book, is your soul. So that kind of sets the tone to what we are going to do with the course. But maybe to get started, since many of you don't know me, I'm going to present myself. So I'm Noelle Imparato, and I've been facilitating the Painting for Life class for about 20 years, but it's only the second time since I am doing a course on Do Your Own Red Book. So this is a pioneering course. In the past, I painted for 15 years and then I wrote a book about it. I'm still sort of writing it because it's in two volumes. The first one is about my own healing journey with the healing power of art. And then the second one is about the method that I am sort of unfolding and transforming as I go, as I do those workshops and classes. So basically, with all this work, what I have discovered is that painting gets you started because painting start to work with intuition and sort of bypass the rational mind as much as possible. And so you get materials to come up, but then writing helps you to articulate what you have discovered with the painting. It helps you to become more fully aware of it. It brings it back to the rational mind, which, you also want to be able to discover, but also integrate what your insights with your ordinary life. So the two together, I have found, are sort of a magic combination. And basically, I got started on this work when I was not the painting work, but the idea behind that work, which came when I was 15 years old. And I heard the message from Sri Aurobindo that said, the destiny of man is to become divine. So I was, raised in a Catholic boarding school. And so this shift from God out there on a cloud to God within, that completely changed my life. And instantly I wanted to make films that would wake up people like this one had done for me. So I'm French, as you probably can tell from my accent, but somehow I found my way to Hollywood and I worked there for 20 years about, but I found myself basically trapped in the mainstream television industry. So I eventually stopped that work and went back to school, got a PhD in mythology with a emphasis in depth psychology. And then what really made it is that I took a workshop at SLN Institute in Big Sur, California. If you know it, it's the
Mhm.
very first retreat center in the US, a very legendary place. And I took a workshop with Michel Cassou in intuitive painting. It was a 7 day workshop, but on the third day, I had like this blissful experience where I went from being really angry at my mother to a state of grace and seeing who she was, and that completely sort of blew me away. And I thought, oh my God, if this is so powerful, I have to keep doing it. And I kept doing it at home every day. I worked for several hours. And then I found it to be so self-transforming and so many insights and so much going on. I thought, well, I have to share it with others. And so that's how I got started with doing my Painting for Life classes. And since then, it has sort of evolved, but here we are today. So maybe I ask you now to share a little bit about you and where you come from and how you have heard about the class and maybe what you expect from the course.
I have been with the Painting for Life course 5 years, six since COVID.
Yeah.
And it has been very revealing for me, very powerful in the sense that whatever comes in my paintings is, I realize it comes from a place that it's not through logic. It is a very deep place, and I really take whatever comes out as messages, and I mean, to me, it works like dreams in a sense. It's not easy. At times, it has been difficult and surprising and beautiful. So it's a little bit of everything. And now I want to go a little bit farther, and I'm curious about this, the Red Book, and excited about it.
Thank you. Thank you, Denise. Beautiful. Yeah.
Can I start it now?
Please, 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 Elizabeth.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Elisabetta Antolovic-Alkovic from Croatia.
Mm.
This is my first time that I meeting you beautiful people. I saw on Facebook your announcement about this workshop, and I am a practitioner of expressive art therapy, and I work with my clients, and I use Carl Jung's theory, and I am very big in that. I am very deep in his work, and I use active imagination very often, and I'm so curious always uh, what will happen, and I really enjoy share my experiences and with others also, and I'm very intuitive, and I am a wounded healer, and I wanna experience something new with you tonight, today, here in Croatia. It's night
Thank
and
you. Yeah,
okay.
thank you, thank you. Beautiful. Yeah, with all your experience, it's going to be very interesting to see, what more you can get. But I can tell you, last winter when we had the first course, people were pretty blown away by what happened during the course because this is going to be a real container with only 8 people or 6 or whoever comes finally. But so then you get really to be very intimate with each other, to become friends wherever you come from Croatia, from Seattle, from anywhere else. And I also will give you some guided meditation, like the journeying to the healing temple, where you meet your archetype healer and that sort of a thing, which is very powerful. So I thank you for sharing. Yeah. Okay. Who else would like to share a little bit about how you got connected with this course and what you expect from it?
Oh, I'll go. Um, my name is Paulette. I'm an art therapist, and I think it was either from Facebook or Instagram. I can't remember, but I've always loved Jungian psychology and depth psychology. I don't, my work is more integrated. I use um, more than one different lens. Um, but I do love the intuitive digging deep into ourselves to come up with what images need to happen and listening to those and learning from them. And I use that a lot with my clients. So that's kind of where I am right now, and I'm curious and want to learn. I don't know that I have time to take your course, but I'll see. We'll
All
see
right.
where we go.
Okay. And where are you located?
I am in Reno, Nevada.
Reno, Nevada. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, I hope you will have time to take the course. That would be lovely. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Amber, are you there? Frida?
Yeah, Amber, I don't know, so I then make the next. Hello, everybody. Sorry, I'm late. I was to work till now. Yeah, I'm located in Germany. Um, in my youth, in my 20s, till 32 or so, I had taken a very long Jungian psychoanalysis as client or patient, and this still is something, yeah, still even nurturing me today. It's really surprising. And I'm a fan of a US podcast, This Jungian Life.
It's a good
And
one.
they had one podcast with the Red Book. So when I saw the Facebook post, I was wow, da, da, like this. To be honest, at the moment, I don't have the financial means to make the course. I'm an art therapist, but I'm upgrading to a master's, and it's pretty costly.
Mhm.
Yeah, I work a lot with imagination. That is for me a source of gift, a source of life. I can't imagine without that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
just, Noelle, wanted to see your face because I followed your posts on Facebook and see all the beautiful things you post. And I just want to know, who is this lady who's doing that?
Oh, wonderful. Frida, I always make a point that the money is not going to be any obstacle to do the course. So please send me an email and we can talk about that, okay?
Yeah, thank you so much for that generosity. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Beautiful. Okay, Amber, you are the last one. Are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't see you.
I know. I'm trying to figure out. I may have to leave and come back. I have a new phone, and for some reason, I'm struggling with figuring out how to work it.
Well, maybe you just do a quick presentation now, and we will move on to other things, and then you can come back with your face if you can. Okay?
Okay, it sounds good. And I have a 15-year-old daughter, so I can run in the other room. She'll probably figure it out quickly. Yeah, I'm Amber. I'm from Maine, in the United States. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and a newly registered expressive arts therapist. And really, I became a registered expressive arts therapist because I love art so much. I took a lot of Flora Bowley's classes, saw her in person. I love the intuitive painting, art journaling. And so that's what led me on this journey. And I've been familiar with the Red Book. I don't know Jungian well at all. So I'll be newly exposed to it other than the Red Book, only because I'm so interested in art journaling.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I really felt like it was like his art journal in some ways, but again, I'm not very familiar, so um, that might not be true. I don't know. I'll find out through the course.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, this is a 6 week course, so obviously we are not going to tackle everything there is in the Red Book. This is a very complex book, but we will
Sure.
do some work with mostly the two main principles from the book is active imagination and visualization. And active imagine both together they pretty much lead to individuation, which is, you know, gather everything together to become whole. And so, more than learning a whole lot of things about Jung, this course will give you a chance to really practice it and learning from your own practice, because that in my mind is where it's at, you know. So I will give you every week, I will give you some information about how to practice the painting, but then yourself, the painting and writing about your painting, that's where really you will get the big treasures, I would say.
That sounds great.
I'm gonna have to leave. I'm very, very excited of doing this, and I'm really happy that I met you all. It's exciting, that we're all over the world and doing this and have this connection. So I'm looking forward to doing this workshop with you. And thank you very much, Noelle. I really love what you do. I appreciate your work very much. I'll follow the recording of this.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you all. Bye bye.
Okay, thank you, Denise. Thank you. Okay, so the main thing, as I mentioned, is the active imagination and visualization. So, what is exactly active imagination? Well, for Jung, it's the idea of confronting all your fantasies, your alienation, your dreams, and not only confront them as they may appear naturally, but induce them. And so Jung was advocating for himself the idea of before going to bed, entering into a semi dream state where the reasoning mind sort of quiets down. So there you are kind of diving into the unconscious, and you may have images and even visions like in a dream, you know, but you at the same time are still conscious. So he wanted that space where you go into the unconscious, but you are not just completely lost in it like in a dream. You also are conscious. And so that's where we are going, although we are not going to bed here in this class, but we are painting, which will take that function, because painting, in my mind, is a place where you quiet your reasoning mind and you sort of dive naturally through creativity and art making. It kind of makes you go down into your intuition and your unconscious. So painting will be like a half dream and half conscious, just like what Jung was doing. And as you paint, you will just let the image come up, and then you also can have a conversation with them. You will meet some characters, you can have a dialogue with those characters, and then you are writing about them. So this whole process will sort of mimic what Jung was going through when he did his journaling for 16 years. Of course, also with who Jung was and all the research that he did, he came up with all these big theories about collective unconscious and all of that, which we benefit from because now he already has his book out there and people have written about it. So we don't have to work as hard as he did to do something sort of similar. So let me, for those who are not familiar with the Painting for Life class, the 2 hours are always going to be the same. We have basically 3 parts. First half hour will be an opening circle on Zoom where I will give you some information about the class, and then we will all share about really, in a very intimate way, what's going on your heart. And it's becoming very present and with compassion and learning to listen to each other. But you are all pretty much, coaches and art therapists already, so we won't have any trouble with that. You already know all about that. So the first half hour on Zoom will be for sharing a lot of things. And then we will have 1 hour for painting, which each of you will paint at home. And of course, I trust that you spend the whole hour painting all the way to the very last minute. So, because quite often the best insight come in the last 10 minutes. So don't think, oh, I'm done now, I can have a cup of coffee and I come back on time later. Just please, use your full hour for painting. And then you take a picture and make sure you sign it and date it. You take a picture of it, you send it to me. And then you come back to the Zoom room, and then we have another half hour circle where I can share the pictures on the screen room. And so everybody gets to have a really good look at your painting, and each in turn you can share your process or how much of your process you want to share. I'm always really respectful of everybody's boundary, but obviously the healing comes with the ability to share all the wounds in a public place. If you can do that without collapsing, that was my experience, then you really are freed from it. It's no longer sort of infringing, it's, restrictions on you and the shame and all of that that can happen. I remember the first time I talked to a very tiny audience of maybe 15 people in a Zen monastery, so that was very respectful people. I knew I could trust them, but even so, to talk about the little, sexual assault that I suffered when I was 9 years old, oh my God, I was like nearly on the edge of tears, but I didn't. And then I felt like, okay, I was able to speak about it without collapsing, and I felt like now I know I'm free. And so that's why I think it's kind of important to share yourself, and the painting really starts the whole process, and then the sharing sort of brings it to fruition. And if not, in terms of what do we do, each week we'll have a different topic. The first week we will first gather together around the idea of mindfulness painting. I have been practicing Buddhist meditation now for over, I think, 30 years. And so my whole teaching is very grounded in Buddhist meditation and Buddhist wisdom. And so we will sort of first get used to work according to this kind of approach where the painting, basically, my big motto is what I learned from Michel Cassou is the product is none of your business. So that's the idea. You want to just be present each moment, like if it was a meditation. You are present when we share in a circle, and then you are present when you paint, and you allow the painting to come out without worrying about what it means and why am I painting a blue sun or any of that sort. You start somewhere and then it may completely transform itself, which is perfectly fine. The only rule I would say is do not erase. Do not erase for the purpose of, oh, I don't like it, so I'm just going to cover it and start again. None of that, because you have to trust that whatever comes out is coming out of your subconscious. And if you don't know why you are doing it, that's even better because it will teach you. It will show you something that you were not expecting. So the surprise is part of the healing. It will make connection between different things. So that's the first week, and then I always also, after the first circle, I end the first circle with a 3-minute talk. So, not, pardon me, 3-minute meditation. So then during the meditation, you get sort of to quiet down even a little deeper, and you may have images that come up that you can sort of get started with that. And it will just inspire you to get started at least and see what happens next. So then the second week, we will dive into the active imagination per se and the shadow work. So active imagination involves confronting our dreams and fantasies, and so that arises spontaneously, but also intentionally. So you want to be present to whatever happens. And Jung invites us to deep dive into the murky unconscious he calls the shadow. So that will take a little courage to do shadow work because all the materials that our ego does not want to look at, that's what we are inviting here. We invite the threatening, overwhelming, anything that has been shoved down into the unconscious where it has remained hidden. And that's fine. When we are a child, we may need to keep those things hidden, or even as an adult, there are things we are not ready to confront, and we want to be able to walk around and live our life without being completely crippled. So this shadow has a function, but as we grow older, we are now more able to embrace all those dark places, and we have to remember that hidden does not mean inactive. Obviously, all these woundings are still simmering in our body and conditioning us to behave in certain ways. And so we go home sometime and we are like, oh my God, why did I say this to this person? It just came out. It came out not from the sky. It came out from your inner, basically shadow that had been kept in there and always wants to be expressed. So here is the perfect place where you can express the shadow. And sometimes you even may, like it happened to me, my assault at age 9 was not really actually by all means something so terrible, but I was very protected girl in an old white village, old Catholic village, in a before even the boarding school, but always at home. And I just couldn't talk about it. I have no way to share that to anybody, so I didn't. And then I kept it so secret that I kept it completely frozen in my own memory. I could not remember at all for 50 years. I couldn't even. My husband once asked me after we got married, are you sure you didn't get abused or something when you were young? I said, me? No, nothing. I was honest. I just couldn't remember. And then one day when I was painting, all of a sudden it all came back. And so we have to be ready for surprises like that. And that's the good thing, because then that really kicks in a new healing ability. So now in week 3, we will go through active imagination and visualization. So I will do a guided meditation called Journeying to the Healing Temple. And that's a classic, beautiful meditation where you go through a little boat ride and go to a temple and meet your archetypal healer. And that has a lot of power to open up healing potential, because you discuss with the healer, you listen to it, she gives you gifts, and all of that kind of interaction can open up a lot of healing activities. Then I will go week 4. We have active imagination and the archetypes. So here I'm going to read you a little quote from Jung. Mysticism is always engaged in the unreachable, unfathomable, that which escape human reason, which can only be expressed through an allegory, analogy, metaphor, and other symbolic figures. So here we go deeper into what Carl Jung termed collective unconscious, which is the universal inherited psychic realm containing the archetypes. And the archetypes are primordial images that represent fundamental aspects of the human psyche and influence our thoughts, our feelings, our behavior, such as the archetype like the hero or heroine, the trickster, the healer, the sage, So Jung asserted that the imaginary is as real as the physical world. And there I would like to point that out, actually, because when you talk archetype, the trickster, the healer, the sage, or the even hero, what does that mean for people? They sort of think, oh, this is just some mental imagination, it's just in my mind, it doesn't have any real reality. But for Jung, and I would say for my own experience, those archetypes are not just imagination like thin air. They actually have a force. They are alive. The psyche is a force. It's an energy, and it has strength. It has reality. It has life. Even think of it, when you are angry, it's not just an idea in your head. Your heart beats, your blood runs, your skin gets different, your hair goes out there, and all of this pumps into your body, and then you end up doing something you had no idea you would be able even to do it, and then you regret it. So it's a force. We cannot take it lightly. So whoever we meet in those meditation and in our painting sessions, however we dialogue with them, we need to relate to them as some real being, some real force, even though they are not physical. I believe, they belong to the subtle realm, the realm of the psyche, the realm of the emotions, and it's a realm that you don't measure with measuring tape, but that doesn't mean it's not there and it's not real, and it has a force and a life. And so when we work with all these things, it has the potential to really transform our life, not just in the way we think we are, but truly how we are. And it becomes such an experience that nobody can tell you otherwise. And so then we go on to active imagination and restoring. And so there I will bring some other guided meditation from Jean Houston. I don't know if any of you know her. She is one of the big movement for the potential of humanity, human potential. And she was a very big presence also at SLN Institute. And so she is very inspirational into not just storing your life, but restoring, meaning when you understand that you are more than that little shadow, that you are that big soul or that big spirit or that big consciousness or awareness, when you look at your life from that higher perspective, then your life purpose may come more clearly, and it will sort of bring everything into place, So even the bad things that happen to you, they may become like, oh my God, I'm so glad this happened to me because now I am who I am, So that's where the suffering is not just a waste of time. Suffering is usually used for softening our heart and getting us into a place, kind of like the rock bottom place, that you hit. If you are an alcoholic or a drug addict or something like this, you have to hit that rock bottom place before you can really have that strong intention that I need to get out of there. So without having to be one of an addict, most of us, we need quite often to hit a little rock bottom to just sort of go back into a brighter direction. And so restoring kind of put your whole story into perspective. So then you get a chance to do that. And we keep doing that until the week 6, where we will just then look at the thread with our old paintings and sort of restore them as one story, not just 6 individual paintings, and make it, bound them together into a book. And so now you have created your own beautiful red book. That's it. That's the gist of it. So now maybe I've talked a lot, so I'm going to open the mic to you. Anybody has any question?
Yes. When are the classes and what days do you meet and what time?
The classes are on Zoom, and it's on Sunday at 3 to 5 ET, Eastern Time.
Yeah, I work in a acute setting in a hospital on Sundays, so I won't be able to join you.
Yeah, it's
I was
3
afraid
to
of that.
5, 4, 3 to 4, so that's 9 p.m. for your time.
No, I'm Pacific time, so if it starts at
Oh,
3, it's at noon, and I'm at work.
yeah.
So
Oh, you are in Pacific. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So yeah, no, you won't be able to do that.
I want to quit the job, but I can't afford to right now. So,
You work on Sunday, yeah?
yes, Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays.
Mm. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. Maybe another time. Do you work on Saturdays?
No, but I am planning on starting a kids creative arts group from 1 to 2. So I
Uh-huh.
already have that information out there, and it's starting on the 18th of this month. So yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe in the winter, if I do another course, maybe
Yeah.
we can find some time where that would work better for you.
I didn't notice if you have a website. Do you have a website?
Yeah, I have a website. Is my name Noelle Imparato .co, no M.
CO? Okay.
Yeah, I can put it in the chat.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, so who else has a question? Amber, you are back.
Yes, I think I figured it out.
Good.
Yes, thank you. I would miss the first class. I think I emailed you about that. So that would be my only concern is that it would be hard maybe to miss the first one.
Well,
Mm.
since there is not too many, since, there is still a lot of space available, so I think you probably can miss the first class and catch up, because as I mentioned, the first class is mostly to get into the mood of mindfulness and mindfulness painting. Yeah, so good. Anybody has a question? No? Is that clear?
I do have another question. When you talk about painting, is it a specific medium or is it any kind of paint medium that you want to use?
Well, painting, no, I don't really have any control over that. I suggest that you paint with something easy to go, like no oil painting. That's too complicated. And also that you paint with something that's cheap, because this way you don't have to think like, oh my God, you better make a good painting, because if not, I'm ruining such a big, expensive material. So the
Mm.
cheaper the better, as far as I'm concerned. And that's why usually I use tempera paint on
Mhm.
paper.
Mhm.
So tempera is what commonly they use here in the US for school, like even kindergarten school, just anyways. It's very cheap, it's easy to use, it comes in bottles, so all you have to do is put it into. I use ice cube tray, and you don't need a whole lot, so if you don't want to waste your paint, you put a little bit in the ice cube tray, and then you can mix and match yourself so you get more colors, because they don't have that many different colors. So, if you take a red and add 1 drop of black, for instance, then you get like a blood red instead of a bright red, cherry red, and so forth like that. So when I'm in the studio, I used to display like 3 dozens of different colors, but you don't have to go that far. But with tempera paint, the colors last from 1 week to the next if you put a damp cloth on it, or sometimes, you find ice cube tray that have a little cap, a tray that has a top, so that's better. And if you keep it in the refrigerator, also it keeps better, or at least in a cool place, not where there is sun, and from 1 week to the next, it will last very well. And so that's very easy. If not, you can also use watercolor if you have, or acrylic. Acrylic are now not that expensive anymore, so you can, and they are easy to use as well. And for the paper, what's important is that it's thick enough so that it doesn't bubble up under the water of the paint. And it's wide enough. The size, I would suggest, a good size, because when it's too small, you just kind of control too much. I mean, on the studio, we use a poster board, but here we want to do a book. So I'm going to show you the book here. So this is Carl Jung's book. So you see how big it is? So I think that's a good size, because, you can do a painting that's pretty good size, and then you can use the same size for your writing. And this way, of course, Jung, wrote like everything, like if he was writing a Bible. Look at that.
Yeah.
Calligraphy. So I'm not asking here to go do the calligraphy part of it, but you will end up with 6 paintings, and then on the other side you can have a page of writing. And of course, when you journal, you probably will be having many pages about each painting. And so by the time we finish the course, you might want to sort of gather each writing about each painting, to make it more simple, you might say, or more clear. I suggest, sometime not so many words once you have done all the work already, to be able to reduce it to 1 page for each painting. And so then you end up with a beautiful book that has a painting and then the writing against it. And then you can bound it anytime, any way you can. Some people, last time, one person even did a virtual binding, which I thought was very sweet, where the page kind of look like they flip.
Thank you.
Yeah, what else? In terms of how to paint, some people like to do abstract, and I personally recommend figurative. Jung always did figurative work, because basically he feels like the psyche, speaks in images, but it's like dreams, like raise your hand. How many of you dream in abstract colors? No? No, yeah, you do. Well, so some people do, so then that's fine. I'm not I'm not giving any strict rule about anything. This is pretty much just an invitation, but everybody is unique and everybody wants to do their own way, and it's okay. Generally, I say, just like dream, most people dream with images that you see around you, people, animals, plants, landscape, and things like that, or any figures from the imaginal realm. So you can also have like angels and demons and dragons and any kind of deities and figures like that. So usually you can relate to these figures, these characters, in a direct way. And a lot of people are afraid, like, oh my God, I don't really know how to do a face. Well, pretend you are a 4-year-old, you know. They don't know how to do a face, but they don't bother to work, to think about it. They just go and they do it, you know. They do a circle, they do 2 lines, another one, and that's it. And the way it comes out, it's all twisted and kind of not in the right proportions and not the perfect colors and everything. And that's actually what makes the character of the painting. So don't worry about not knowing how to draw. Just as long as you work from the heart. Pretend, you know, your heart is at the tip of your brush, you know. This is what you paint with. You paint with your heart, with your emotion, with how you feel. And that's what makes the work authentic. And that's, if it's a real authentic work, people who have no inclination towards art, they can do painting that people resonate with, because, oh my God, yeah, I feel this, you know, when I look at that, I can feel it, the colors, the way it's done together. It doesn't have to be because it represents a beautiful portrait of somebody, but it's because the work has been done from a place of authenticity. And that's what I really advise, to push yourself beyond your comfort zone and dare to be a 4-year-old again.
Just want to say it's beautiful listening to you. Thank you.
Oh,
It's really
wonderful.
very, very, I can imagine that I see things while you're talking. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, beautiful. Well, I know you have, Frida, an issue with the money, but as I mentioned, you know, in the promotion material, I offer a discount if you sign up for the course before midnight tonight. And so I only have 3 people right now who have signed up. So then, you know, if you want to save your spot, you might want to do that as soon as you can. And Frida, again, I just say, you know, please send me an email and we can work it out. And because I have that liberty, you might say, because I'm retired. So I'm not really doing this, you know, to pay the bills. So I want to make it available to as many people as possible, and I don't want the money to be an obstacle. Okay, and so what else? So maybe if we are ready, then we are going to end the session with the same little ritual that I use every time before we end any session, which is a big hug, even virtual hug. So this is to remind us that when we are doing this work, it's not just for ourselves, it's not just for healing ourselves, it's also to heal the whole world. So as I'm going to say, and you are going to repeat after me, may all beings be happy.
May all
All
beings be
beings be happy. And guess who knows the signal?
Oh,
She knows exactly.
Oh,
She knows that when we have our little group hug, this is the end and this is her walk. Yeah, chica here. Okay, girls.
okay.
Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
I'm really honored to have you here, and I look forward to working with you.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Uh,
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.